Hi everyone, Stuart here again. It's Tuesday, June the 24th, 2025. Tomorrow is 25/6/25, so will that be a pivotal day? Oh my word. Geopolitics. Trump announced overnight, I'm sure you're all aware, that there was a ceasefire in place for 12 hours. Iran had already fired some missiles off, apparently. Israel had fired some off. He got caught using the F word directly to reporters. Unbelievable. The President of the United States publicly using the F word. Obviously, he's somebody's base will love that because he's an ordinary guy, isn't he? Ordinary billionaire. But anyway, it's very, very uneasy, obviously. Mark has also reacted really significantly. Arura, hello, my friend.
Hi.
Wow, the news just keeps pouring out. Between us last speaking. Yeah, so it's 12. I was just saying Trump's 12-hour truce. He says is still in place. He was caught using the F word on by reporters between Israel and telling them both off, but it seemed more aggravated with Israel than Iran, bizarrely. I don't know. I mean, what's your take? I get a feeling that Netanyahu isn't going to let this lie because of the way the Iranians responded. It was very pointed. It was very symbolic. There were 6 missiles. They were all intercepted. Nobody was hurt. People have also been hurt and killed in Israel this morning. So yeah, this idea that this is our, we can do this. We can send a great big jet from Missouri. Apparently, it went with this massive bunker busting bomb. But nobody really knows how much damage has actually been done. So, and I was reading something this morning. It was that Iran may have another site that the West doesn't know about. I don't know. I mean, what's your feel? What's your take? What have you heard?
Yeah,
Let us all know.
Hello everyone, and especially to you. If you remember our previous conversation, it was last Friday or Thursday that I mentioned. Even the news was about 2 weeks that Trump gave Iran to think about the peace talk, stuff like that. I mentioned that there is no 2 weeks, and that's
You
this
did.
weekend we're gonna have see something because Trump came from the financial market. He's the guy that knows that to do stuff like that when the markets are closed,
Yep.
so he can soften the effect of the things of the decision that he makes. So he was whatever like so many news that we like, oh, he's such a stupid guy, he's I don't know, playing his show, yeah, there is too many things about that, and I'm not going to talk about that, which whether I'm agree with that or not, which I'm not. But anyway, the thing is that he was success in what he wanted to do. He damaged the things that he wanted to be damaged in Iran.
Mm.
He controlled the stock markets. No effect, no negative, not just the negative effect. It was even the positive effect in the stock market. When you're talking about the oil market, you saw the oil price. It all these things that happened in the market. Hey, Adnan, with
And
all things
good
that
afternoon, good evening
happened,
to you.
yeah, with all things that happened in the Middle East, in Persian Gulf, the oil price fell. Man, that's not a joke. It means that he can manage things that is happening,
Mm, mm,
which is the art.
mm,
Whether you say that he is playing dirty or he is playing not dirty, he is a stupid guy or he is just playing a show. But he got what he wanted. Now, again, let me tell about this peace talk. As we were talking privately early morning, I told that's not the peace talk. That's the peace playing talk.
mm.
That's a play.
Yeah,
And
totally.
why? Because Nobel, the peace Nobel is coming soon, man. He likes too much to get it. That's what he is. Look,
Yeah,
we have,
absolutely.
if you want to understand the reality, what's going on in the market. First of all, you have to understand the reality. That's the reality. He likes too much to cut that, man. That we have to respect that. So this is the first about that, and think like we are. He just remember in we had just that there are several things that comes up at the 12th, the exactly 12th date after this war started. Israel gave 12 hours to the top Iranian exactly in the
Yes.
12th
Yes.
day. They
Yeah.
gave 12 hours
Exactly. Yeah.
about
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
why the top commander
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
Republic Islamic
I
Republic
I don't know if you were here when I was saying at the beginning. Tomorrow is the 25th of the 6th, 25. So
yeah.
again, so read into that what you will, listeners, watchers. But you trade what you see, not what you think.
Uh,
And look at this. I mean, oil, massive collapse here yesterday. Will they? Won't they close the Strait of Hormuz? Probably not. Too much stuff goes through there. Are they beating the regime? Probably too early to tell. Is there going to be regime change in Iran? It'll need
it's gonna be regime change. Don't doubt about that. There is no doubt. Just 12 hours before that, we started with Mega, and that's started to be so popular in the Persian community.
yeah,
Make
yeah,
Iran great again, Mega,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you don't you look if you look at the Trump behavior. He is not real. Whatever I say, he's not usually joking. Really, he's not joking on what he says. He likes to be the top. He likes
yeah.
to be the
Absolutely, the man.
winner,
Yeah,
and
exactly. He
yeah,
loves the
yeah,
attention, loves the ego. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
He likes to be a winner.
Yeah,
Whatever he said that he's a good person or a bad person, when you comes to the politics, no one cares that you are a
yeah,
good person
yeah,
or you are a bad
yeah,
person.
yeah.
He likes to say something and do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what he's.
Results. Yeah, he's action man. Yeah, action man. That's why lots of people love him. It's like
Yeah,
everybody's talked. Just going back to the Israeli situation, I mean, the presidents have talked for as long as I can remember about moving the U.S. embassy, and he
yeah.
did. He did it,
He did.
and
He did.
yeah, but like it or loathe him or whatever it is, he does get things done or create. But it's the chaos that's created or the uncertainty that's created around. The average guy in the street or the average lady in the street, do they benefit from that? I would question that, but anyway, it is what it is. We can only react.
Yeah.
We're very, very small players in this. And as Unicorn Traders just posted here, he's had a 10k account blown because of the moves. Unicorn, my friend, trading volatile times, it's really difficult. Obviously, that's why you have a stop loss. That means when it gets hit, it doesn't impact you psychologically. If you lose, you lose. You will lose lots of trades, whether you've been trading for 1 week, 1 year, 10 years, 100 years. You will lose lots of trades. You just got to get that into your head and accept that is part and parcel of the business. If you're confident enough in your strategy and your approach and your emotional intelligence, your own personal psyche, you can make a success of trading. Anybody can make a success of trading wherever
But
you are in
still,
the world.
Mr. Yeah, but if you in which symbol did he
I
can I
don't know.
ask?
I mean, it could have been.
Yeah, can you tell me in which symbol did you
Yeah,
lose?
yeah. I mean, it could have been
I mean,
anywhere,
it's
couldn't it? Yeah,
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 because about the most thing that we talked previous week that
yeah,
happened. What happened? I mean, things that happen in the oil market, in energy market,
yeah,
in commodities market, things that happen in the market. We already talked about that
yeah.
about the oil price. I clearly told that this is not with what's about the
Yeah.
gold price as well, about the things that we talked that almost happened. But still, as you mentioned, that's the trade, and that's not the game. That's
It's
the
the way it
real
goes.
life,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
yeah,
I
how
had
it works.
just to explain my personal skin in the game situation as a great book. If you haven't read Skin in the Game, my friends, go and find a copy of it. Nalim Talab, fantastic writer, great book. Skin in the Game. I had 8 open trades over the weekend. When the news of the bombing I woke up to on Sunday morning, I was like, oh no, oh my word, oh yeah. I was comfortable with where my stop loss was, but the issue was it going to be massive slippage? For me, it was the other way around. We had slippage to the upside, so we gapped up, and I benefited. Places were closed much higher than I'd expected. So, and then they went on to higher moves as well. So I was the right side of that. A bit lucky, obviously. It's not because I'm a great trader. I got lucky over the weekend. Obviously, Unicorn. Unfortunately, my friend, you might have been the wrong side of that and got a bit unlucky. But that is trading, and that's what happens. But so again, if your stop loss wasn't hit, it's probably because of the big gapping moves we saw on Sunday night, Monday morning as we moved over. Anyway, just gets back to the point of today. There's lots of data coming out this week, being it's the end of the month. It kicks off quite significantly today. This morning, we saw central or core CPI inflation data in line with expectations, still above that 2% target that all the central banks are aiming for. Japan would like to see a bit more, so 2.5 for the core. Is not as good as they wanted, but it's much better than they expected. Interesting in Europe, the German IFO Business Climate Index, this is the key one out of this lot, came in at 88.4, better than expected. And better than last time as well. So things are definitely starting to eke up, as we saw in Germany, as we saw with the manufacturing and the services PMI data. Yesterday, as I said yesterday, there's a plethora of central banks speaking this week. Interesting, just coming out away from the calendar. Last night, one of the key sort of doves on the FOMC, a lady called Michelle Bowman, who is an appointee of President Trump, ironically, and she's possibly in line for a chairmanship. Followed Chris Waller, who's another appointee from Trump, who also is being talked about as potential replacement for Chair Powell. Chair Powell, I will come to him in a minute because he's about to start speaking to testimony. But he May next year, his term is up and he won't be extended. That's pretty clear from what Trump said before. But they're talking about, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was flabbergasted when I read it this morning. She's talking about possibility of a rate cut as early as July. I can't see that, to be honest. The rest of the Fed members, but it's just the fact that she's talking about it and talking about it publicly. But there's been some big swings in the what the opinions are of the Fed members. Neil Kashkari is the first one to turn proper hawkish. But anyway, Neil Bostic yesterday said he's still looking at maximum of one rate cut by the end of the year, and many analysts are talking about, the market's going to do the work for the Fed and there won't be any cuts. So we'll see if this inflation story keeps going. Keen data at the end of the week with regard to that. So back to the morning. Better data out of Germany. Canadian inflation came in 2.5%. If I just go to the Forex factory calendar, you'll see how it's ticked back up, though, unfortunately. If you look at this, in Canada, they give you 3 readings, so they then create an average. So there's the median, the trimmed, and the common. And it averages out of the 3 of them, but the trimmed is the let's just use the median as the key one, as a key demonstration. You see here how it's come down really well, but the the sort of final quarter of last year, there was signs of it peaking up again, and then it's moved up quite significantly. Obviously, the worry about the tariff situation from January onwards, and it's still getting quite chunky here in Canada, back over 3%. So Bank of Canada surprised markets probably more than most other central banks. So watch their next move quite carefully. That was a bit of a chunky inflation number this morning as it came in here. Hotter than expected. We have just had house price index, house price sort of very much weak.
Interesting house price data in the US.
Yeah, the US house price data is a bit weaker, but So as I say, lots of central bankers speaking this week. We've got Mr. Bailey, who's actually kicking off at the same time as Chair Powell. He's testifying to the Finance Committee in the House of Commons in the United Kingdom. But obviously, of more important news to market movers is the consumer confidence number, and what Chair Powell, how much grilling he gets today. We'll see what that looks like. So remember, consumer confidence has been remarkably robust. We'll see what that looks like. We've also got the third key manufacturing index, the Richmond index, is coming better than expected, still negative, and the consumer confidence slipped again to 93 from 98. So unsurprisingly, although there hasn't been a significant impact from the tariffs themselves on the hard data, these sentiment data has continued to languish. So consumer confidence slipping again, 93 it's come in at. If we look at the Richmond index, remember the Empire State was a big miss on Monday, and the Philly Fed, last week, and the Philly Fed last week was also better than expected. But you see here in the Richmond manufacturing index, it's been languishing in negative territory, obviously long before Trump came in, but it's been languishing post COVID in this negative territory. So manufacturing very much getting squeezed as services takes the big bite. Obviously, President Trump is trying to turn that on its head and try and return some high value manufacturing to the United States. How successful it will be, many continue to question. But it's great rhetoric and it's great politics, and it grabs the headlines. So obviously we can't, other than watching Chair Powell's testimony, what tends to happen over the 2 days, he will read a statement and then get cross-examined on the first day. Usually, but not always, usually the first day's cross-examination gets most of the volatility in the market out of the way. Obviously, we've got obviously the political situation much hotter than normal in the background, so anything could happen today. So consumer confidence coming worse than expected, manufacturing in Richmond better than expected. Let's see how the markets have reacted to that. If we start with the majors, euro is at 115.95, so it's lifted. We got a weaker dollar again today, so the 116 top we saw a week or so ago is being tested again. See this top, and yesterday's big rally from the 20-day moving average has been fed through today as well. So we were, I think we were long this the other day and got stopped out, didn't we? If I remember, if it's minus 14. I lost the last trade I had on euro. There you go. Such is life. But a big strong day yesterday, back to 116. Doesn't mean that 120 is in, not inevitably. Here you can see next extension here, the fib extension takes us to 119.50, the big round number to the upside, so shy of 119. If we just take this up to the weekly time frame, you can see again there's that 119.40 zone as our next upside target on here on the weekly. But see what a strong 2025 euro dollar has had. So the bulls are still very much long this one. If we come back to the daily, 20-day has held yet again, and off we go, and we're off and running to the upside today. If we just drill down to the hourly chart. Sorry if I reset that. Sorry. There's our rally to the 116 area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours today. We've been banging in to the 116 area. We can't breach it. Was that 116? Yeah, 116 is there. That's top of that previous high, I think, isn't it? Top of my fib level, somewhere 116. Where's that one? 116.10 is where we've topped out today, but it's still bid to the upside. And if we see the reaction, we come down to the 5-minute time frame. We've got a lift for the euro against the dollar following that data. So dollar's weaker again today. Aussie back to test or come back under 65 here today. Sorry, if we go back to the daily, back into test 65 today, and come down quite significantly last week and yesterday's worry what was going on. Aussie particularly rate sensitive, particularly sensitive geopolitical issues out in Asia in particular, but been under pressure, and it's back to the upside. So nice, as we've been saying for a while, a significant break of .65 needs to take place above these levels here at 65.30 is the real upside resistance for the Australian dollar. Canadian dollar, dollar CAD back to 137 zone from a low of 135.66. So and then a high yesterday into the 50-day moving average at 138. So that's been topped out, and we're down again today, back to test the 137 area. So next downside target is that low from a couple of days ago at 135.65. We get back under 137 for dollar CAD traders. Guys, if there's any particular asset you wanted to have a look at, let us know. Stick it in the question box. Unicorn Trader, if you obviously don't want to say things public, I won't share your message. Let me just hide that. If you want to look at a particular asset, let me know, and we'll have a look at it. We'll do some technical analysis on it and obviously fundamental analysis. We've seen a big move for the safe havens. And next up is the Swiss franc. I'm short this from last night, and it's just hit target. It's hit first target. I've moved the stop loss down. Let's bring this in the hourly chart. So we were short from, there's our entry up here. That's 40 or 50 pips, I think. But that's our first target taken out here. So half the position will have closed here at 80.75. And as we said yesterday, I think it was on yesterday, we were talking about 80.50 being a big daily support area if we get back under 81. And look what's happened today in this hourly time frame. It's 81 hasn't held at all. I mean, the first test, a bounce for an hour, cooler for an hour here at 11, and a big crash through here at 12 till one candle. So, but the momentum was kicked off yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So we entered late on the close of the day, and we're down in the money. Our stop loss, actually, while we're here, let's just for the second half of the trade. What I tend to do is look at my traditional 20, 50, 5 and 9. I tend to pull the stop loss down to the 9 period. So it's a bit, I'll move it down a wee bit now on this, obviously on my trading platform. I'll do that when we finished here, but that's another successful trade to the good. Short Swiss franc, US dollar Swiss franc. And again, if we come to the daily time frame, you can see this low here, this 8.8050 area, which is the next zone down 25 pips away. That intraday low we had on the 21st of April before we rallied, but then sold off quite quickly. So the trend remains very much to the downside. The dollar very much under pressure. Swiss franc very much in demand. The 50-day there at 82.30 and the 20 there at 81.90. Dollar yen is back under 145. It looked like we were getting some momentum as we went through 145 last week. Pitched and pivoted to 148 yesterday before we closed lower, 146, and then back through 145 today, right back into the 20-day moving average. So we've breached this 20-day moving average. We'd quite easily get back to the 50-day moving average and then into this fresh air down here and take us to 142.50 to the downside. Dollar yen. If this 20-day, 50-day range holds, we could have another go back to 147, 148 potentially to the upside. But at the moment, dollar being sold with all the uncertainty. Kiwi back to .60 from a test to 58.85, and sterling finally has breached its recent high at 136. Had two good days yesterday as it went down into the 134 area. Big 200 pip, two big whole number move in 2 days for cable, and it remains a bid to the upside. Sorry, Adnan, I'm doing all the talking here. Arura, sorry, not Adnan. Old habits die hard, Adnan, my friend. Arura, do you want to talk about a particular chart? I've done all the talking here, and
technically, usually as you go to technical for the all asset needed, so I'm not going to repeat the same stuff.
I'll keep running through the other majors then. So stocks have obviously had a lift on the back of the ceasefire, 12-hour ceasefire, 12-day, 25-day, because it's the 25th tomorrow, 24th. Who knows? But the DAX, it's usually the US ones, got through some key areas. So the Dow today has gone back to test 43,000. The S&P 500 is yet to test 6,100, but yesterday we were back through the big, huge psychological 6,000 area. And the tech-heavy Nasdaq went through the 22,000 level. So some key psychological levels have been tested and breached in some cases. So this big decline we saw from the February 19 high to the April 8th and 9th low, 7th low, here for Nasdaq, using the Nasdaq as an example at 16,300. It's been all the way back, and it's a classic V shape.
Classic V shape and
Yeah, yeah,
very ready to
down
recover
steeply,
things. Yeah, very ready.
down steeply, and we've come back a bit more smoothly.
Yeah,
But yeah, volatility rules. Trading rather than investing in these markets. Just follow the rules.
like about the S&P 500, 6,100 could be the very key. I'm not,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
not
There's still,
6,000.
yeah,
Not 6,000, 6,100 for
yeah,
S&P 500
yeah,
would
yeah,
be very key pivot little.
yeah,
However, I'm not I'm looking at the data. Look, today's house price that you saw that the house price is falling,
yeah,
falling more.
yeah,
Yesterday's data when we have not just yesterday, during the last 2 weeks, that when you're looking at the economic activities, yeah, fine, the economic activities come somehow in the US it was a little bit better better than other countries, and while the inflation is slightly down, so which means that still the central bank in United States, no matter if we have the Jeremy Powell there or someone else on the top in the Fed, Federal Reserve will hold the rates. I think probably most probably in September also they have to hold the current rate, because
yeah,
things that is going on in the U.S. It seems that the U.S. economy compared with the other economies is still moving forward. Looking at the PMI numbers that we had just yesterday, that shows completely the difference, the level of the difference between the economies. So all these data says, well, do we have the uncertainty in the market? The market is so when everything is so positive, you should have some doubts there. Look,
exactly.
things things are so positive in the stock market. That's not what the economy says. If you look at the Redbook numbers today, just 3 hours ago, we had the
Yeah,
Redbook
yeah.
numbers that, and yeah, look, later this week we will have uh, the durable goods order. Make sure that these numbers they're gonna sell more about how people are getting more cautious, because when the people are getting more cautious about whether they're gonna sell, whether they're gonna buy, whether they're gonna spend their money, it means that the doubt is coming to the market. And when you see this V shape in the market, this V shape it sounds very nice, but just sounds very nice. That's why I think the S&P 500, if it cannot prove itself, which is very less likely, if it cannot prove itself above 6,100, the breakdown towards 5,400, 5,300 is my next target.
Yeah,
So, as you remember, last week we were talking about the positions. I told that I closed my buy position in S&P 500. I closed it about 6,000. I'm 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 very I'm very cautiously looking about the sell position for S&P 500 and Euro USD, because in this condition, whether the Trump administration wants or not, the dollar index is not going to get weaker at this moment. Now the cautious is coming back to the market. This cautious is when the cautious is coming back to the market. People they are going to have more cash, and these cash that you want to hear, it's gonna take the demand for the U.S. dollar. Don't forget about the emerging economies when we are talking about the dollar index and the demand for the dollar. It's not really just about the demand in the U.S. economy. We have too many demand out of the U.S., especially in
yeah,
emerging economies. In the emerging economies, we are getting look at the data that we had in Brazil, look at the data we had in Mexico. These all these numbers they say that okay that's a little bit the cautious and look at the data that we had in Turkey. These data that just 3 hours ago we had from Mexico yesterday and today we had from Brazil. This data says that the economy is getting economic condition is getting more a little bit more cautious in the emerging economies, and and they're gonna need more dollar for as a safe haven. So the dollar index getting a little bit more demand in the next days, if especially if the S&P 500 cannot prove itself above 6,100. That means a little bit can change in the
yep,
market. That's
yep. I agree.
the
Yeah, yeah,
condition
and
is so crazy.
a lot of the trade data and the tariff data really starts to bite into the after the summer into September. So September and October are particularly volatile. It could be particularly volatile 2025, regardless of what the geopolitical situation is looking like. But yeah, I mean, you could also argue from a technical point of view, we've already had a triple top here in the S&P 500. We haven't quite had it looks like a triple top here in the Nasdaq 100 at these big round numbers, this 22,000 level. As you say, the 6100 level on the S&P 500 is absolutely key. But for me, it remains bid. The 20 days is my key indicator. In fact, we breached 6,000. Still looks relatively positive, but it's a reaction to what's going on. It could easily come back down the other way. Jatin, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know where you are, my friend. Again, as I say, if you want something specifically to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah, and just see that was you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and the DAX. I don't know if you trade DAX. Do you trade the DAX? Oh, you're
I am thinking about the DAX, German DAX. Also, I'm thinking about the sell. Both the DAX 30 and GR40, both of them, both of them, they are somehow in a sell position because after the Trump administration got a little bit take back his support from the Ukraine, the European economy a little bit put the pressure on the supporting the Ukraine against Russia. It put a little bit more pressure on the economic development in the eurozone. One of the things that we have I don't know if we talked about that inflation, why sometimes inflation comes down while the economy is not going forward. Like eurozone inflation is low, but the thing is not because that the central bank was so happy and so successful in controlling the inflation in the eurozone. Mostly because the people getting less demand. I mean, the inflation in the eurozone slipped so fast, not because that the ECB was very successful and professional in controlling the inflation. Yeah, they did a good job. I appreciate what they did. I appreciate the policies. But still, there is other factors to watch. The Europeans' spending is getting so low. Even thought there are several factors to watch. If you look at the credit cards, unpaid credit cards, unpaid numbers of the credit cards. When you are looking at these numbers, you say that European economy is one of the things that they have a list inflation. Eurozone inflation is lowering because the European people either they do spend less money or either they spend the money for the cheap stuffs. I mean, if they bought something before with $100, they're trying to pay same thing, even if it's the fake or if it's the lower quality, whether it is. That makes the inflation down. It's one of the main factors. So when you are looking at this, it means that the base of the economy is getting a little bit weaker than what it has to be. That's the macroeconomy says. I mean, even if you are not looking at the technical chart, the technical chart also, I think the DAX can support the idea of the selling because it gives the idea. If you look at the DAX 30, there is an idea of selling possibilities, selling opportunities. But more than the technical idea, I think the fundamental data telling us that the DAX GR40, even the CAC 40, even the CAC 40 in France also. I think I'm in a sell position.
I mean,
I'm not. I don't have a position, but
the other argument is as well. There's been a massive move in these first two quarters in the German DAX in particular, and European stocks in general, from what would have been dollar investments typically. Obviously that all gets churned at the end of the quarter, the end of the month, which is again what we're coming to this week. So we got those factors to take into account, and don't rule those out either as portfolios get churned. So that might have reached peak investment in European stocks as they got more expensive. But it's still lagging the US, isn't it? It's much further away from its all-time high than the Dow, for instance, here, and the S&P 500. Here. So let's see how it pans out, whether it goes short or long. Today, as far as today is concerned, the 24th of June, they are bid currently up over 1% in the US in open. I'll just flip to Powell's testimony. classic what he's saying here. Labour market remains in solid position. Inflation. He hasn't used the word transitory by the looks of things, but hasn't yet anyway. But all the markets, stock markets in the US, even the Russell 2000, all positive. Russell up 0.8 of 1%, Nasdaq up a whole 1%, the Dow 0.6, and the S&P 500 0.75 of 1%. 6,100 beckons for the Dow, for the S&P 500. Gold, conversely, continues to unwind, but we're into now a key area today. 3,300 is where we're banging down to. So oil and gold are both down on the ceasefire talk. Technically, again, gold under its 50-day moving average, this big thick green line here, the 50-day moving average being breached on gold. Currently, obviously, the day isn't over yet. As you can see, look, we look to the left, look to the left, look to the left. Last time we were under our 50-day moving average all the way back here at the beginning of the year. So the gold market has had a right old rally for these first two quarters. Obviously topping just shy of 3,500 itself, and we are now back to 3,300. So the gold bulls have had a really great run. Obviously some profit being taken out as we go down, but bounced here from the 50-day. Bounced here from the 20-day here the last time at the end of May, and here as we get towards the end of June, political situations continue to swirl, but it's being sold off into 3,300, and that is either a buying opportunity for the bulls or a relinquishing of profit for the bulls as well that have been long from earlier in the year, balancing their portfolios. You know, profit's not a profit till the trade's closed. So if you've been long this for 6 months and, you know, you need to take some profit off the table, and that's part of parcel of what's probably happening as well. Obviously, the uncertainty may not have gone away, but the symbolic nature of the Iranian response yesterday is obviously what's taken markets positively, and but obviously the big unknown remains Netanyahu's political survival in Israel, and doing something crazy on both sides. Obviously, same in Iran with the regime having lost lots and lots of leaders. Are there some sort of rogue elements, rogue militia? They might just do something they regret. So anyway, 3,300 key line in the sand for gold. A breach of this, as you can see, could take us down very quickly to 3,200. A hold would need to take us back through the 20-day moving average, which sits at 3,350, which we were trading at earlier today. So big short short traders are in the money today for gold, and indeed have sort of been in the money since the 16th of June. I don't know if anybody trades silver. I don't really look at. I used to. I don't really look at silver much.
Actually, the silver is my favorite. Silver is my favorite.
That's why we made such a good team. I don't really look at it anymore. 35.40 silver. I haven't got many lines on here, but
silver. You know what's very interesting about the silver? The silver is very interesting because at the same time, you know whatever happened for the market, silver. Comparing the silver trading with the gold trading, it's like this: that when you are looking after a gain with less risk and more opportunity, but like lower the profit, but very less risk, because when things happening, when everything is good in the market, the stock is good in the market, the risk is low, the gold, you have a less demand for a gold. At the same time, you have a lower demand for the silver, but you don't have a less demand because the silver at the same time is industrial metal, so you can use it in industry as well. Exactly. While the market, so when the gold price is falling, the silver price is falling a little bit lower. But so you have very much more control in your trade with the very less risk. Yeah. when the gold is gaining, the silver also is gaining, but not as much as the gold is gaining, because the gold safe haven demand, silver's safe haven demand is a positive. At the same time, negative industrial signal is negative, so it's lower its
Yeah,
gain. But if you look at the overall the trend that we had, just look, it means that the silver generally in a long term, for the people that they're looking for the less risky assets, but still they want to trade in a commodity market, the silver is the
yeah,
best option.
yeah. Well, it's less volatile.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah.
and a bit. I used to do copper quite a bit as well, but a lot of brokers were bagging copper up with, you had to use 5 units of it as well. So I got out of that as well. But yeah, the silver gold ratio as well. That's the other way people trade it. Looking at the silver gold index and how they move. But yeah, silver's been bid and it remains above its 20-day moving average, unlike what we saw with the gold market, which has crashed through its 20 and its 50 down. Actually got a 50 on the silver there. You can see the silver 50-day moving all the way down there at 33.90. The 20 days where we are now at 35.45. Whereas gold, although it has moved much more aggressively this year, much more many more points and pips in it. It's already under its 20-day and its 50-day today, but make a decision on that later on today. So gold down, silver down last week or so, but is the rally over? A bit too early to call that rally is over. And finally, my friends, we'll finish with crypto, which crashed through that 100,000 level over the weekend, and we're back up another 5% at 505,000. So last week, there on Sunday, we went under 100,000. We closed under 100,000. Big engulfing candle yesterday, positive bounce on Monday, and here we are now trying to break higher, but this trend line still remains sort of fit. Are we going to go back over the 20 and 50 day where they're consolidating here at that 105 level? So this is actually a negative move here on the moving averages, but they're not. There's no great angle on them. So the fact they've crossed the 20 has crossed from above to below the 50. That's a negative call, but that's because of this move here, this exaggerated move here we had in the last week or so. But what we can see is a flattening of the moving averages. So the 105,000 becomes the key area, 106, and then obviously new all-time highs beyond 111 for crypto. So crypto's bounced significantly yesterday, and along with stocks and is up, dollars down, and oil is the huge big movement. We start with oil, we'll finish with oil. Energies, there we are, US oil $65, just above $65. Big old rally to 78, and here we are all the way back down to 66, 65 zone for oil. So guys, if there's any questions, jet interested in learning more about silver versus gold trading. It's using the I haven't actually got the index here, but if you Google, sorry, there are other search engines, Jetin. If you look at just Google gold versus silver or gold silver index, the ratio and the correspondence between them, you see how they diverge and they converge and diverge over the years, but so they don't necessarily always go in the same direction, but they tend to. Obviously the key differences Arura pointed out, gold has this ancient attraction for people, mankind, and always has as a precious metal in particular, but obviously it's used in industry as well, whereas silver is much more of an industrial metal, but also has a precious metal appeal to it as well. It's much more of an industrial metal, big consumer of silver, the Chinese in particular. Copper's a massive asset that the Chinese gobble up as well in all their production. So check that out as well. Okay, I hope that's answered your question. But yeah, if you want to run that correlation, but certainly again, just going back to actually trading these two things, gold tends to be more volatile. The spreads can be tighter because there's more participants, there's more brokers, there's more people trading it. Silver's less so. Less volumes. They both have. That's the other thing. If you're interested in it, find out about the actual hard commodity trade in the futures market, the options market for both these assets. Obviously, people still buy and sell gold bullion and silver trinkets and silver jewelry and everything. So there's whole different markets to all of these particular assets. Obviously, gold mining companies mine both silver and gold. You know that some of those are quoted. Barrick Gold in Canada is a big mining company that's quoted on the Canadian Stock Exchange and the US Stock Exchange. So I've had to go around those. If you got any more questions, just ask my friend. But thank you for your time. Thank you for being here today. So just as I said, finally, let me just go back to the calendar. What we started with. Keep your eyes peeled or listen to what Chair Powell's got to say during this. I'm certainly going to go off and listen to what he's got to say. So in summary, the Richmond Manufacturing Index was a little bit better than expected, but remains negative. Consumer confidence has slipped again. So overall, that's hit the dollar a bit this afternoon. Obviously, more importantly, anything that Mr. Trump says or President Trump says, and anything. See how if the tone changes from Powell. It's very unlikely, regardless of what people who might want his job, Michelle Bowman or Chris Waller have been saying about a possible rate cut in July. I can't see that happening. And as Arura said, he doesn't see it happening at all this year. So September is the first possible one. So most analysts have a potential cut, but it might only be one rather than the two that we were talking about only a few weeks ago. We were talking about 4, 5, 6 for 2025, weren't we? We were talking about this last year about 2024 being disappointing they didn't cut the rates. But anyway, see how that impacts the administration. So anyway, take care, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, he says, playing for time. Tomorrow, when are we live tomorrow? New home sales. Yeah, so we're back at the same time tomorrow for new home sales in the second day of Chair Powell's testimony at 3 o'clock my time. That's 14:45 my time and 13:45 Universal Standard Time or GMT. Okay, take care, everyone. Aurora, thank you for your time. Adnan, nice for you to be here chatting. Thank you very much. Unicorn Trade. If you want to contact us directly, please do so. I say I've had a good start to the week on the trading front. There's 2 trades overnight, which is, I say, it's dollar Swiss hit target, and the other one is pound Aussie. Let's have a quick look at that before we go, shall we? See where we are. Sorry. Forex pound Aussie, I think it was pound Oz. It's going. Oh, that's hit target as well. Is that hit target? Stop loss entry. Yes, it's not card, and that was yesterday. Oh no, that was yesterday. It's done absolutely nothing today. There we are. That was yesterday. So I'm saying it's hit target, hasn't it? Sorry, let's just. I might have hit target actually. It says the 2nd of the 5th. I'm sure I'd changed that. 209.15. It might have done. Let's just check what we said on Discord. So that's might be half closed as well. Just bear with me. See, I'm not making this up. Strategies. Pound Oz. Stop loss ratio 208. No, 208. Is that the right chart? Pound Oz stop loss ratio 208. Oh, there's there's stop loss. Sorry. Yes, it has hit first target and it's come back down while we've been talking. So it must have hit target before we came live. And then as soon as it heard me talking, it's dived back down. But stop loss is still down there. I might drag it up a bit. Anyway, so 2 trades from last night. They both hit their first targets. The stop losses will get moved, and half the positions are still open. And we'll see what happens tonight. So all the best, everyone. Have a great day. Jatine, thank you for your time. We'll see you all tomorrow at the same time, same place. All the best, everyone.